Sarah Henderson joins me now live in the studio. Good to see you, Sarah.
Chris, great to be with you.
I'll come back to Andrew Hastie in a moment. But first up, let's look at the government. Bringing in refugees from Gaza, the Immigration Minister, Home Affairs Minister Tony Burke there to welcome them. Wouldn't he normally talk about that publicly, tell the public what's going on, put out a media release, even answer our questions?
It's a very strange thing for Tony Burke, the Minister for Home Affairs, to be doing, going out and greeting refugees at the airport, rather than addressing the big issues, combating the illegal tobacco and vaping industries, of course giving Australians a proper explanation about what's going on in bringing ISIS brides back to Australia, and also being open about the 100,000 people in this country who've had their asylum seeker applications rejected, and they're still here, and we know no further information about whether they're going to be leaving this country. So, and then of course there's the immigration disaster in this country. So really, I think Tony Burke needs to stick to his day job rather than swanning around out there with refugees, particularly when we don't even know the circumstances under which they've arrived.
Yeah, and we don't know about security checks, and it's all very wonderful to see families reunited. We all know that everybody would love to get out of that situation and be here. But Australia's taking far more than any other country. Why? And what security checks are in place? Are we vulnerable?
Well, we don't know, other than we can only assume this is for blatant domestic purposes. There were some 3,000 Gazans that have come to this country. There's been very big concerns raised by the coalition in relation to the security checks. The average security check time for each person was about an hour. So we have very grave reservations about these people who've come from Gaza because, of course, let's not forget, Chris, Gaza is controlled by Hamas. Hamas is a terrorist group. Hamas is responsible for the terrible atrocities right now in the Middle East between Israel, and so this is just not good enough from this government.
Well, Tony Burke flat out refuses to answer our questions, so hopefully the opposition through Senate estimates and the like might be able to get some answers on this. Related to that, I want to get to your thoughts on what else I opened the program with, and that is the UN. Now, as you know, I used to work for the Foreign Minister. I know how it works over there. It is extraordinary to see the Prime Minister and 3 other cabinet ministers all in New York all week, all swanning around. This is the job for one person.
Well, they're swanning around primarily talking about our policy, and that is the social media ban. That was a policy announced, developed by the coalition, led by, of course, Peter Dutton when he was the leader, and we are very proud of that policy. But now Labor, of course, is forgetting history, grabbing the work of the coalition and now swanning around in New York. I have to say, you know, pretty disappointing effort all around, particularly when you think about the cost. So many people going across from the government rather than focusing on the big issues here in this country.
Now, we were just talking about immigration. That brings us back to Andrew Hastie. He's gone out there with strongly worded comments on Instagram. There's been sparring back from Tony Burke publicly. Do you think that Andrew Hastie is placing himself as a leadership contender within the Liberal Party?
Well, I think what Andrew is doing is raising the issues that so many Australians care about: immigration, housing, energy policy, families, the ability to buy a house. I mean, it's never been worse than it is now under this government. So he said he's been a little bold in talking about these issues, but he's prosecuting the issues that we should be prosecuting every single day as we look at how this government is failing our country, whether it's immigration, whether it's housing, whether it's economic management. You know, debt is going up to $1 trillion. And, of course, the terrible decision that the government has made in relation to prematurely recognising Palestine. So this government is letting down Australians in so many respects. So we are working very hard to be an effective opposition. We know we've got a big challenge. We know we've got a long way to climb.
Are you working hard enough? This is the question, because I agree with you. The things that he's been saying are going to be a head nod for people around the country. It's the sort of thing the opposition should be saying. But Susan Lee's been invisible, and there's this policy review, and supposedly no one's got any policy to advance. This is the point, isn't it? That the opposition needs to take up the fight, and too few in the leadership are actually doing that.
Well, we've certainly made very strong policy announcement in relation to rejecting Labor's regressive and horrendous 2035 climate targets. We've made a very clear policy announcement about of course, reversing the decision in relation to Palestine, but we are going through a policy development phase, and of course that does bring with it, Chris, some frustrations.
Creates a bit of a vacuum,
and
doesn't it?
there's a little bit of a vacuum, and look, I'm not kidding anyone. We are going through a difficult time. We need to do a lot of hard work to rebuild the faith and trust of Australians, and there's no doubt the leadership has got a lot of hard work to do.
And before you do that, as a Geelong supporter, you'll be hoping for the Cats to get up on Saturday.
Absolutely. Go Cats, the mighty Cats.
Thanks for joining us, Sarah.
Thanks,
I appreciate
Chris.
it. Sarah Henderson.